Megan, if you like need a minute or mess up or whatever, I'll just edit it out. So don't like think you have to be perfect really, because we fuck up too. So also, no one's watching this video, so it doesn't matter.
That's the intro right there.
That's the intro.
Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to Reviewers Assemble. We got a full couch here today. We are doing the reviewing of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. My name is Kyle, as always, your host. I got Victor here with me. He's been with us for the long ride. Nigel returns today, and then his wife Megan is here as well. So, first ever female guest for
Welcome, Megan.
for this highly acclaimed show here. So yeah, if you guys have seen the show before, if you haven't, what we're going to do is just go over kind of our best scenes, our worst scenes of Winter Soldier. We're going to go over who we thought was the what we call the strongest Avenger, which is going to be the favorite actor or actress. We're going to do the Baby Arms Award, which is our weakest, or who we thought was kind of the least interesting character there. And then just a score. We're probably going to move the rankings to just the end of the video here. But yeah, as always, Vic, do you want to just kind of touch on maybe just a quick recap of Winter Soldier? Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the cool part about Winter Soldier, it's another post-Avengers movie. So we're fully exploited to what S.H.I.E.L.D. is and what they're capable of. In this, it kind of dives deeper into it. The cool part with the second Captain America is it brings back Hydra from the first one. Mm-hmm. So Hydra is completely implemented into the entire United States, undercover everywhere. Deep into S.H.I.E.L.D. So, really good bad guys overall, in my opinion, in this movie, because it's kind of all throughout the whole movie. And then, of course, we bring back Bucky as the Winter Soldier, Cap's best friend from the original movie, and he comes back as a bad guy. And, there's a lot of deep, raw emotion because it kind of hits him, the shock and awe effect, really. He's a villain, and then they're friends. It's a really weird and raw connection when Cap finally realizes it's Bucky. So this one's it's really good in my opinion. But I'm interested to see what you guys have for best scenes. I want to go last on best scenes because it's a great movie. It's gonna be hard for me to pick one specific one. So for me, I think we go with our special guest Megan. You want to go with your best or favorite scene of this movie?
Nigel's gonna get mad at me because I'm stealing his too, because I love this scene so much. It's the fight scene in the elevator when Hydra kind of surrounds Cap, and I just thought it was really cool and just badass.
Before we get started,
does anybody want to get out? Yeah. So good.
That is a great one.
Yeah, it's got one of the best one-liners in the entire thing. It's what you just said. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
That scene is so cool, Megan. To your point, because rewatching this, it's so cool because it's just Cap, and this is right after he talks to Fury, I think. So their whole thing with S.H.I.E.L.D. being compromised, he goes in the elevator, it's just him, and then the first three guys come in, and then and Cap notices something's up. The guy's got his hand on his gun, and then they go down the floor, and then more guys come in, and Cap is okay, something's going on here. Right. And then at the end he realizes before we get started, does anybody want to get out? And it's you just know that's an awesome scene, and not to jump ahead.
Yeah, I mean it's Nigel's scene too, so I'm sure that's
it is the best scene. It's it's got everything. You can see throughout the whole thing that Cap is not really a cocky guy, but in this moment he's just you guys really want to do this right now? All right.
We're already having a really bad day.
Yeah.
That's actually a really fair point because he's never really cocky.
No.
At all. I mean, in this movie, he is a little bit more.
Except for joking at the very beginning with Falcon running around and stuff like that.
Yeah, on your
joking,
left.
On your left. Jokingly cocky, but other than that,
this does have some really good one-liners, on your left, and then the elevator scene. Some really good one-liners.
Can't run everywhere, and he's no, you cannot. And he goes in the car with Scarlett Joe.
Floor 41.
Yeah. What? Yeah, the 41st floor. Well, they don't write it on the side of the building.
Yeah.
How about you, Kyle?
For me, honestly, so we were originally gonna record this a couple weeks ago, and then we pushed it back. So I actually watched this movie twice in the last 2 weeks. Honestly, the first hour and a half straight is like a love fest for me. Where I really was wow, it's nonstop action. Best scenes, I don't think I can really narrow it down because it's the whole point where Nick Fury. We didn't even talk about the car scene where he's
so
the police ambush him. And it's like, this is Hydra, we find out, and they're like, oh yeah, there's no police dispatch in this area, and he's like, okay, and he like has to inject himself with like some sort of like
painkiller.
Yeah, painkiller. And like that whole scene is awesome, where like they're using the like the barrier. I don't know what that thing's called. Like that big like almost looks like a log that.
The battering ram.
Yeah, the battering ram. Yeah, and they're like window integrity 1%, and right before it smashes it, he takes the machine gun out. That whole part is awesome. There's so many good one-liners, and then like, I just thought the whole part where like Cap goes home and like his neighbor, who's like the blonde chick, is there, and he's like, oh, you can use my machine if you want, and she's like, oh, I just got done with like the infectious disease ward, and he's like, oh, okay, no problem, and he's like, I'll see you later, and she's like, not too far though, and he's like, oh, but then she's like, you left your music on, and he's like, oh, like I don't know what's going on here. So then he actually goes in the window. His apartment. Sorry if I'm going into too much detail, but like this movie's great.
Yeah.
So he gets there and like Nick Fury's in there and he's like beat up and you can tell something's wrong and he's like, oh yeah, I was like got kicked out of my house, my wife kicked me out or whatever, and then he's like on his phone and he does like the shield was compromised and he says like ears everywhere. Like at that point in the movie, I was like, I don't know what to believe right now. Like you thought shield was good, we didn't know the Hydra twist comes later, so like. Yeah, like I said, the whole first hour and a half movie, this movie is just all of my best scenes, really, because there's just so many lines between the on your left and the elevator scene, and Shield is compromised, he fights like the helicopter. There's just so much to choose from, and I like couldn't believe that there were this many good scenes all in a row.
For sure.
So for me, and it's probably why I'm such like a series guy, or like I love watching Star Wars and Harry Potter, because I love the deep relationship connections you get throughout each movie, and obviously use some imagination with it. But for me, I love the end scene with Bucky and Cap fighting, because it's so emotional for Cap, because he doesn't want to die and he doesn't want to lose the fight, but he also needs to save the world, but he also doesn't want to kill and hurt his best friend, his childhood best friend, like inseparable. They were great partners when they were in the army together before Bucky died. So there's so much raw emotion in that, because what the hell do you do? Like, you can't kill your best friend who's clearly brainwashed and he knows he's brainwashed, but you also can't let the rest of the world die. So he's so torn back and forth, and how it ends is so climactic, where he's just like, I'm with you to the end of the line, and then the thing collapses and he falls into the water. Like, he was willing to die, he saved the world, he was happy with where he was. It was just another time that Cap shows how courageous he is. Like, he is a true born hero, and we talked about it before in Avengers, like the difference between Iron Man and Captain America. Like, until Tony brought that nuke up into space, he really didn't show that side of him. Cap always shows that side of him, and we just talked about it, like, it's the first movie he was cocky. He's always been humble and courageous and the hero and the perfect soldier. He was kind of cocky and funny in this one, which I did really like. But that was for sure my favorite scene. I like the emotional side of it.
Yeah, and I think, Megan, you were mentioning this when we were watching it. One of your favorite scenes, too, I think what we didn't mention is the water scene, like you said.
Yeah, when he pulls him out.
Bucky pulls him out of the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that goes to show, like, their connection. Like, even if...
But he felt it. He knew.
He knew it. He felt it. He didn't remember him and know why he had this connection.
But there was something.
He had that connection.
Because he's not fully brainwashed.
Right, exactly.
They're trying to erase his memory. Yeah, they're trying to... They shock him. There's that good scene where, like, it's like it's kind of cringy to watch, but like they put the electromagnetic lines or whatever on him and they shock him because he's like, who was that guy? He's like, I knew him. And
mission
they're like,
report.
you don't know. Yeah, mission report.
Yeah.
I thought I had something else there, but nope.
Megan, you want to lead us off with your worst scene?
I will. And it's kind of bad because it was one of Kyle's favorite scenes. Was the Nick Fury's fight scene in the car chase thing. So the whole leading up to this point that I'm going to talk about, I liked, like you were describing, like the window integrity and all of that, and him injecting himself and fighting back. But his escape is what kind of frustrates me, because it's just so convenient that he sees Bucky coming at him. He's upside down. And then he pulls out the
big like a little tool, like a welder, pen or something.
In the time that Bucky gets there and the time that he's gone,
the longest 10 yards in history.
Yeah, it's just so unbelievable to me, and it's very convenient that the manhole cover is right there.
They do it again later in the movie, I think, too.
But the thing about that later on in the movie, the time is a little more convincing because you don't see that time gap, you're like, oh, they could have actually done this after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But like that time gap there is just so like instantaneous.
Yeah, he's
no
got,
way
like,
you can do that. You
yeah,
have like
no
a
chance.
dead arm, you're dying,
Yeah.
and you just crawl through.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it was a great action scene, but logistically speaking, it's terrible.
It is kind of
It's
weird
so
when he
bad.
just rips
It's
it
the
off and it's
escape.
like the whole.
Yeah.
It's really just the escape that just kind of kills that entire build up.
Nigel, what about you for worst scenes?
So it's not really one in particular scene, it's kind of an overall theme for the movie. This is supposed to be like the big reveal that Bucky's still alive and everything like that. And I remember when the movie was coming out and everything, and they were showing all the previews and everything, I'm just like, oh, well, Bucky's alive. So that scene where it culminates where the mask gets pulled off, and Cap's like, what? I'm like, your friend never grew out his hair when you guys were growing up? Like, ever? Like, he never had a
Not all of us
goth?
did
He
that,
never had a
Nigel.
goth phase? Hey. But like, that part of it, I was just like, this isn't really, like we were talking earlier, the Hydra reveal felt more like significant than
Absolutely.
oh, it's Bucky. Like, well, yeah, no shit. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got the goggles initially, and then
yeah,
he
and
loses
that
those.
part was like okay, but like he does, but like at the front end of it, when Cap first sees him after he shoots Nick Fury, he doesn't have the goggles on.
When
No,
he
he
you mean when he catches the shield?
Yeah.
Which we didn't touch on, which is an awesome.
That part is awesome, but it's just
He
like,
throws it back at
but
him.
literally like, you don't realize this is your friend here.
Yeah, he didn't realize until the mask part was off. And yeah,
Right.
we were like, you didn't know before that?
Right.
Bringing up that scene, I do love the like espionage spy stuff throughout this whole part. Like
Yeah.
with Scarlett Joe, Nick Fury, like there's a lot of that like behind the scene little stuff. Even Agent Carter or whatever, how she's a neighbor who's
Yeah.
there to
Yeah.
protect Cap.
She
Protect Cap.
She
What is
like
she
a
gonna do?
niece
What-
of Peggy or something?
Must be, yeah.
I think isn't
Something
she
like
like
that.
a niece or something?
Yeah,
I
because it's
think it was
Sharon
something like
Carter.
that. Yeah.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
Yep.
So-
Yeah, so it must be. But yeah, I mean, that whole like concept was really cool. And then obviously Hydra is all spies essentially as well. So that part's pretty cool about this whole movie.
Yeah, we didn't even touch on the boat scene, the opening scene where it's like that whole sequence is really cool.
Oh, with Georgia St. Pierre?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, is
You-
that GSP?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah,
Dude, he throws the
UFC.
shield. That awesome. There's like an awesome scene where I noticed it both times watching this. I was like, whoa. Where like the guy's, it's GSP and he's like up there, and then Cap. There's like a quick cut where Cap like jumps and like throws his shield, and it goes right through. And I was like, there's so many good scenes. And then he's like, I thought you were more than a shield. And he,
Well, and it starts with him
Yeah.
jumping out of the ship, and they're like, "Does he have a parachute?" And
nope.
Rumblow's like, "No, he does not."
Yeah. Yeah, which again kind of goes back to First Avenger, which we talked about, which is like didn't jump out the first time, did jump out this time. Maybe he learned from his past. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
How about you for worst scenes?
Oh, dude, I don't know. This is a hard one to pick.
Want me to go?
Yeah, you go first. I got to think.
So for me, after they take the Hydra guy, and I forget his name, I should probably look. Jasper Sitwell, that one.
Oh yeah.
And he, Bucky rips him out of the car, and then they have that whole scene where Cap's in the bus, right? Do you remember that? And they're lighting him up with automatic weapons.
Yeah.
And somehow you see like 5 guys shooting an automatic weapon into the bus, and Cap doesn't get hit once. On top of that,
And he gets the shield.
yeah, on top of that, Natasha aims up, shoots Bucky. It doesn't break his goggles, but hits him perfectly in the face with a pistol.
No, she does break his goggles because that's when he takes off.
Sorry, like it cracked him. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't go through and kill him. Like everything about that. And then even at one point, Cap's running at a guy with a shield like this, like shoot Cap in the legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the guy with the minigun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
exactly.
minigun. And then even after that, he like crouches down and when Bucky's shooting at him, and I'm like, this was so unrealistic. And I tend to. It wasn't a bad action scene. It was just so unrealistic, and it pissed me off. Rewatching it for the 15th time, I was like, this is awful in so many ways. It just, I don't know. And personally, I don't know how ScarJo survived that scene. She probably shouldn't have, logistically speaking.
Yeah.
There was like a lot of convenience in
Yes.
those fight scenes.
Yeah.
Like Nick Fury escaping, like Captain America not getting his leg shot off or anything like that, and just a lot of convenience.
Almost like a Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah.
Like they just took it to the extreme
They went
on the
action, all action.
Yeah, and no logistics.
Yeah.
No reality, which I guess is fine. We got to use our imagination.
Yeah.
But that just pissed me off a little bit.
what is cool though, not to harp on best scenes, but like that playback scene where ScarJo's got the phone, Bucky thinks he's got her.
That is badass.
He rolls the grenade or whatever
Yeah.
underneath, and it's like playback, and I was like, ah.
That is really good,
Yeah.
actually.
And ScarJo I think is good because there's like the opening scene where she like traverses down and she shoots all these dudes on the boat.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
cool. Reminds me of Black Widow whenever that comes out, but.
Yeah.
So I think for worst scene for me, I really like this part of the movie, but I think kind of speaking to what you were talking about, Vic, where it's like logistically, this kind of broke the immersion for me a little bit. The scene where they go to the bunker, which I thought was really, really cool, where they go to his old camp, which I was like, wow, that's really cool.
And they have the flashbacks.
After they have like the scene where he's in like the Apple store, where he's like, oh, I've been Aaron, and he's like, he's like, we're going to New Jersey for vacation. Although also kind of on worst scene for that, logistically again, they're just hacking like a computer. Like,
in an Apple store.
She puts in like a USB drive for like 10 minutes and like hacks it, and like you think someone would be like, what do you do? You can't just put USB
She's a
drives in.
super spy, bro.
But yeah, so that's a little bit of my worst scene. But when they actually go to the camp and find the bunker, that's really, really cool, where they're like, why are you hiding a secret elevator if you already have a secret camp? They have like the Howard Stark picture on the wall, Tommy Lee's pictures up there, and they're like, who's the girl? And he's like, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But when they meet, is it Zoloff?
Zola.
No, Zoloff is it's like some, I don't know what that is.
The
But
computer guy, Zola, right?
what's his name?
Yeah, Arnim Zola.
Yeah.
Dr.
The guy
Zola.
from the first one,
Yep.
where he's like, oh, my body was gonna die, but I put my brain in all these computers. I was like, I was like, all right, that's a little bit of a stretch. But then like, what I hated about that scene is that they just ask all the questions, and then this is where like the classic scene where like the enemy reveals their entire plan.
Yeah.
Where he's like, they're like, why did you build this machine? And he's like, oh, let me tell you why I built it. And it's like, yeah. And
Well, now you're gonna die.
yeah, and then he's like, I was stalling, and I was like, yeah, but you just told him everything.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, again, the whole thing of like, you told them you were stalling right before it hits.
Yeah.
Like, just
Just
about
keep stalling.
to get out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just keep talking. Like, you know you're gonna blow up anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
that part I thought was...
Just enough time.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a really, really cool reveal that like Hydra is S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're like Hydra has actually been like involved in S.H.I.E.L.D. and like that was really cool because eventually when they're like Cap goes on the speaker and he's like, hey, just so you know, like at least half of S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra and like don't launch those. And then there's that guy where he's like launched the helicopters and he's like, I'm not gonna do that. And he's like, is there a problem here?
Yeah.
And I was like, that was cool because you didn't know like it's split, but yeah, the whole like that scene I thought could have been really cool, but just the dialogue and the way they played it out, where like they just revealed all of the important information. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
But also, you forgot to mention that Sigwald gets thrown into a bus when fucking rips him out.
Yeah. Boop, see you later.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my worst scene. I can't really think of too many others, honestly, because I'm just like smitten with this movie. So
No, yeah, it is a really good movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, strongest Avenger. There's a lot of great characters, especially you know, like the extra, lower people. They're all really good.
the guy from
Megan-
Ant-Man too.
Yeah. Megan, who are you thinking for strongest Avenger?
Oh, this one was not even difficult for me.
Wow.
Falcon.
Okay.
Absolutely 100% Falcon is my
Well,
favorite.
Anthony
in this
Mackie
movie.
love.
Love Anthony.
Yeah, just because, like, especially when he just kind of, like, jumps right into helping them out. And, like, when Cap and Black Widow come to his door, they're like, people are trying to kill us. He goes, all right, come on in.
He says, not everybody.
Yeah.
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 Not everybody come on in.
Come
Like,
on, if
he
you guys
makes
eat
them
breakfast.
breakfast and, like, gives
Yeah.
them a place to stay. And then
Yeah.
he's like, oh, yeah, so, and then it's like joining them right away.
He comes off as like a career soldier, like
Yeah.
someone who's happy to be out, but also like irks for it every day and wants to be back in it. And he's clearly ready to go anytime because he knew everything about Cap and knew who he was and
Right.
knew what was going on. So yeah, I mean,
And
that's
he
a great
knew he
pick.
could be helpful because he told Cap he was a pilot, but he didn't tell him what type of pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that
That's when
reveal
he
was
drops
really
like the
fun.
Falcon
Yeah.
papers. Yeah.
And he's like,
Once again, a better reveal than Bucky.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
and I was just like, go for it.
It's a good pick.
For sure. Definitely.
Now, do you guys gonna agree or disagree on this one?
No, I'm actually.
I did this one all by myself.
She got that.
Nice.
I do agree. He's probably my second favorite character in this one. I do love Cap in this one, but I'm honestly gonna go with Nick Fury for my strongest Avenger in this one, just for all of the reasons in the last video I was here for with the Avengers and how I was like disappointed and how he was not one step ahead, being this super spy and everything,
we did talk
and
about
all
that.
of them calling him out for that. This one, he is. Like, he's 3
At least
steps
at the
ahead.
He
end.
fakes his death.
Well, he fakes
Yeah.
his death and everything like that. He's ready to go. I know it's convenient that he gets out of that situation with, the Winter Soldier, but Like it's still all there. That entire chase scene, the whole thing, and like it just to
He's
me.
got great one-liners.
Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah.
Better keep both eyes on me. What does he say?
Yeah.
We get to see him lift his eye patch for the first time.
Yeah.
All that.
And the cool thing about Fury is like he has that mix of soldier and espionage. Like, because a lot of people will say, "I'm not a soldier, I'm a spy," or "I'm a spy, not a soldier," and like, and I mean they say that at the end. So it's really cool to see both sides of him in that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's I think we shit on him a little bit. I think it was Avengers. We were saying like,
He was
how do you
always
not see this coming? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is why I like him in this one.
Yeah,
so much,
yeah, he
for
definitely
sure.
stepped up.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely, and he shows that leadership on all levels of just like, you know, and on top of that, you get to hear from Pierce more about like why he became director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that is because of like all this stuff in his past that you didn't really hear about in any other context. Or so.
I don't know about you guys too, but like when first time watching this movie, like way back when, like when Nick Fury dies, you think like you're like, is he actually dying?
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the fake death is awesome, and he actually mentions Bruce Banner, I think.
Yeah.
Where he says like it didn't work for Bruce to control stress, but he's like, it lowers your heartbeat to less than 1 beat per minute.
Yep.
And so that's how we could like fake the death. But I remember watching that being like, is Nick Fury dying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Like, wow, yeah.
At the time, I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Like, I would have written it off just because even though he's a main character, he's not like
He's not
a
essential.
staple. You know, exactly. He's not essential. So I thought they were just going to start.
And
doing
especially
stuff.
with S.H.I.E.L.D. coming down,
Yeah.
it could have made sense.
It would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool in this movie too, because like I don't think you see this a lot in MCU where they do like a bait and switch where it's like I don't think they do this a lot where like
No.
they really have like a good reveal. It's not like cheesy. It's like you think Nick Fury's dead, and then eventually later on we see him and then he explains how he faked his death. But it's like
There's not much.
I don't
There's a
think
couple more in the future that we'll
yeah,
see.
I don't. Yeah, it's like some Loki shit, really.
Yeah.
That's what we were
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Vic, what do you think for
Well, who did you have?
for strongest Avenger? I gotta go Cap in this one.
Yeah.
Chris Evans. I don't remember. I gotta look back, but I don't know if I picked him for first Avenger. But yeah, like you said, we got cocky Cap. Give me cocky Cap every day of the week. Like
It was funny.
I love that's. I mean, spoilers. But that's America's ass right there. So. Yeah, it's just because it's just strange to see like the first one he's like unsure of himself and he's building up and he's just trying to do right. There's an amazing scene again. Sorry to go back to best scenes again, but like when he's with I think older Peggy, she's like on her deathbed, and he says like, you know, I used to think I was doing the right thing, but he's like, I'm not so sure anymore. I was like, what a cool. And we go into this in Civil War in a little bit where it's like what is the right side and what is the wrong side? It's like this gray area.
Yeah.
But he is like, you know, because he has that great scene with Nick Fury when they go Project Insight before S.H.I.E.L.D. is compromised, where he's like, this isn't security, this is pointing a gun at the world and calling it security or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he's,
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, the whole theme of this movie, it's like, he used to think it was like black and white and he does this and he fights the war. Now it turns out, I think they said like, you fought the war for nothing, basically, because Hydra still won or Hydra's still infiltrated.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just so cool how they carry like threads from the first movie over to this one and expand on it. And it's like,
And it's 70 plus years later.
oh, it's so cool. Yeah, because it's been building. I mean, and yeah, it's such a cool idea to have like, agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or agents of Hydra have been like basically
Infiltrating, yeah.
It's just such a cool idea, and it's like it's kind of scary actually because it makes you think of like the real world today and like things we don't know, and it's like who knows if there's like some sort of espionage stuff going. Hopefully not, but but yeah, I just think Cap sticks out here. It's a great cast, like we said. I think Anthony Mackie and Nick Fury are two great picks too, and we'll see what Vic has for his, but. Yeah, it's a really, really strong cast, and I think Natasha is good in this or Scarlett Joe as Natasha too. So, but I think Cap just stands out. I mean, I always think of the elevator scene.
Yes.
Like it's just so good. Where he's like 1 against 12 or whatever, and he knows he's like, does anyone get out? Because he's like, I'm gonna mess all these dudes up.
Yep.
Even though he's outnumbered, so that's cool. But Cap for me, Chris Evans.
Yeah. So for me, it's weird because I'm higher on people that I didn't like in past movies. My special shout out, I loved Anthony Mackie, so I'm not going to copy Megan, he's not my strongest. For me, ScarJo in this one, and I've been very, very hard on her in the past. There's a couple scenes I don't love with her. Like I said, she probably shouldn't have survived that scene with Bucky. I think Megan, you said everything was convenient, or Nigel did, and everything was convenient that they kept like finding a way to get out of bad times. But for the most part, I loved a lot of the espionage stuff. I love the end when she shocks herself instead of taking that tag on her chest to the heart.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, she's so multidimensional in this movie where she's working for Fury. She knows something's wrong. She's working with Cap, but doesn't completely trust Cap. But there's so much going on, and of course, she's gorgeous. She's sexy. Like, she shows that off a lot. She's a badass. I was just so hard on her on the past, and then watching this one, I felt like she took it to the next level. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I think she gets better every movie, which will be great to see. I do want to give Kobe Smulders, Agent Hill, a little love, because I was hard on her in the last movie she was in as well. Definitely steps up a little bit more. I think it was Avenger. She steps up a little bit more. She helps save or maintain Fury's life. She helps reconnect the other guys to Fury. Mm-hmm. And then she has a big role at the end, taking over like the comms and all that stuff up top.
Yeah.
So I think she stepped up a lot in this. I don't know if she's in any more after this. I can't remember off the top of my head, but probably. I liked her a lot more in this one than I did the first appearance she had. So had to give her a little shout out.
Cool.
For sure.
What do you guys think for Baby Arms, which is, if you haven't seen this before, it's our least favorite actor or actress?
So for me, it was Pierce. I feel like he's kind of that like stereotypical villain who kind of hides behind others, orders them around,
he's
uses
like
his
the head
money.
of Hydra, right?
Yeah, and he's just a douche. He just makes me mad, and just like his corruption and all that. I don't see him as being like super powerful either as a villain. I feel like he's more just using his position to be powerful.
He's one-dimensional.
Yeah. It's a very predictable villain where I infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. and now I'm gonna corrupt everybody.
Yeah, that's fair. Nigel, what about you for Baby Arms?
So, was it Romanov? Is it Romanov? What is it?
Yeah, Natasha Romanoff.
No, not Romanov. Not Natasha.
Oh, the scientist?
Frank Grillo.
Romulo?
Is it Romulo? I can't. Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that.
It says Crossbones in this.
Yeah, so Crossbones.
That's probably his character's name.
But yeah, so I chalk it up to just how he's written in this one. I think he's really weak throughout the whole thing, and mainly just from who he's going up against. Like, you just watch in the opening scene, Cap takes out an entire ship of people by himself. Yeah. And then your plan to capture him in that elevator scene is, I'm just going to stuff some guys.
He's like, it's not personal, and he's like, it kind of feels personal.
Yeah, and I'm like, every time, everyone you go up against, he just gets his butt whooped the entire time. It's kind of like the whole Loki thing, like we were talking about a little while back, of just, who you're going up against, and it just doesn't feel like you even tried to be prepared for what's about to happen to you.
He needs like a taser, and he still doesn't win.
Literally, and that's my thing. Like, they go into the elevator to try and be like, incognito and stuff. Like, we got him in this situation. I'm like, you had the elevator. He's stuck in there. You could have just freaking shot tasers in there and just hoped one of them hit him, right? Like, anything else, but no. You tried to go one-on-one with Cap like that. Like, no, not a chance, buddy. So that definitely. Just overall, Falcon even, and that's not the same thing against Falcon, but
don't say anything against.
I know, but
we love Anthony. I don't be hating.
No, I'm not hating.
Your opinion matters, but not right now.
He's not even able to take on that guy, really. Like, he literally just you're an idiot, and just runs out of there as the freaking helicarrier comes down on top of him.
He's more of a decoy in this movie, where he's got to get rid of the AA guns or whatever, where they're trying to shoot down. Where it is cool when he's zipping through, but you can tell his suit goes down at one point, He's like, the suit's down, and it's like, oh, now you're useless.
Yeah. Oh, no. So I was talking about Romanov just being useless. He couldn't even take on Falcon, who just he's just and I know I'm not trying to say anything bad about Falcon, but I'm just like, dude, you were supposed to be Cap's number 2 guy, and you can't handle anything. You are not stronger than anybody in this movie. Yeah. I mean, even the computer guy up there, he doesn't launch the helicarriers, and the guy's like, yeah, I'm not that threatened by you, actually. I'm going to say no. I'm just going to hard pass.
What's their whole group called?
I can't,
Strike Team?
Yeah,
Strike Team and Strike Force.
Yeah.
So, all of them in general kind of pissed me off. This guy, Callan Mulvey, who plays Jack Rollins, this guy right here.
Yeah,
Like him, like
oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't care what level of military you are. None of you look like that and walk around like that with that kind of attitude. Especially like you're on domestic soil in a beautiful $1 billion building. Like you're not walking around like a tough guy ready to fight everybody.
Yeah.
So like they had a hard on to fight the whole time, and that so Rumlow and all those guys like. It just pissed me off the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not my weakest, but I'm just saying I agree with Nigel. That whole group was just kind of rough the whole movie for me.
Exactly.
Like you knew they were bad guys. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you just
knew. They were very like classic bad guy where it's like we're evil to be evil. It's like,
It was way too telling.
There was no motivation.
Sidwell too, like even in the first scene when he's on the ship and you see Sidwell, I just sat there. I was like weasel face.
There was like very obvious
just
foreshadowing. There's like a scene where they're just like right on his face, and you're like, all right, like.
Yeah.
You know something's up.
It is cool that they do say like when Cap and Natasha are going on the list, they're like, why is Sidwell there? And like I don't know, and I'm like, I'm like remembering. You're like, now you know why he's there, but like, yeah. Vic, I still gotta think about my baby arms. So do you have a baby arms ready to go?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Bucky with Winter Soldier.
Oh.
So, I don't want to say it's an acting thing. For me, it's a character thing. I don't know. It was just the whole like the command thing. What's the saying? Mission report and all of that. It just like ready to comply. Like mission report. Like all of that just kind of set me off a little bit. That it didn't make sense. And the whole. I wish they dove into more of the scientific stuff behind, because even we were debating it. Like, okay, so they cryogenically froze him. Then they brainwashed him. They gave him the arm. Does he have serum to make him strong like Cap? We know he does, but like they didn't develop that part enough for me. And throughout the whole movie, he doesn't have enough lines. He doesn't talk enough. It's all action and all fighting. He shows some weaknesses. I don't know. Like obviously he's a great soldier, but as a character, I didn't find him that great. There's a lot of great. I found Hydra as a bad guy overall with all the characters implemented in it better than Winter Soldier as a bad guy in this movie. Is that weird? Like when I think of the bad guy in Winter Soldier, I think of Hydra, not Winter Soldier. It's kind of weird, but
he's like a decoy almost.
Well, no, I agree, because it's like I think that if they had have kept the reveal until even later or something, that it was Bucky and just made him more of this frightening entity.
You almost should have kept like the whole face the whole time.
I think
you softened him up.
Yeah, you softened him up by making him Cap's friend. You know, and just you keep him, because they do that whole thing at the beginning of like Natasha's horrified of who this guy actually is, and hearing about that it's the Winter Soldier, she's like, well, we're screwed. Like this is.
I've tried tracking him down. I've tried finding him.
Yeah, no bikinis anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sure you look terrible to him now.
But yeah, it's just like. I think it would have been a stronger character if you if you're not going to give him any kind of lines or anything or explain anything, don't reveal him yet that early in the movie.
Imagine that end scene if Cap and him like got
Fighting.
that bloodied, that beat up, and then he knocks it off somehow, like legitimately knocks it off, and he's like Bucky, and that's when
he stops fighting.
Yeah, and it like hits him instead of in the middle of the street, and then he just disappears.
Yeah.
That definitely missed moment, but
I agree.
We're also not movie writers, so what can we say?
Yeah, honestly, it's hard for me to pick a baby arms. Like I'm struggling with this one, but if I had to pick someone, I would probably agree with Nigel. I think it was your guy, the strike leader.
Strike leader.
Yeah, he's the one that stuck out to me the most. Where like watching this, I was like, oh yeah, this guy just like he's just that classic villain bad guy. Like I'm gonna do bad things to do bad things, and like we don't know his motivations, and it's like. He's the only one that really stuck out to me. Everyone else I thought was good. I really liked the look of the Winter Soldier. But I agree with you, Vic. Like I think Bucky, but he's also brainwashed at this point. So like it's not really
him talking that much. No, I get it.
Although it is a little weird that he like kind of his brainwashing or whatever like is just from seeing he's like Bucky and like that one word he's like, who was that guy on the bridge? And I'm all right. I mean you'd think like he would have lost a little bit more, and then that's when they re-zap him. But like, I think that guy, the strike leader member, I just thought he was like kind of weak. And to your point, Megan, too, Pierce, like that guy was just classic bad guy to be a classic bad guy, and it's like those two, I think, not to do a double baby arms like you would, but I think they were the weakest points of this movie by far for me. In an overall very strong movie.
Yeah, that's fair. So how would you guys score this overall on a 10 scale? Megan, no rookie scores.
What do you mean no rookie scores?
It cannot be an even
Oh,
number.
okay. I was like, what are
Always
you
a
talking
decimal.
about? So I gave this an 8.3. I really like it, but some of those, I guess that's kind of high end. But I wasn't wanting to go first on this, but okay.
8.3?
You're the guest.
8.3. Yeah,
not
the
bad.
convenience kind of knocks it down a bit for me. The convenience factors in it, but it's a really enjoyable movie to watch, and I'll just put it in and watch it anytime. But
It's definitely an anytime watch movie.
yeah,
It's one of the ones you're like, you can't really get sick of it.
If it's on TV, yeah, TV movies are terrible, but you're still putting it on.
So I'm actually scoring this one a 7.7.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it's not to say, kind of like we discussed a few times, it's not that I dislike the movie or anything like that. It's definitely one that, like, if it's on, yeah, I could sit there and watch it or anything. But like I said, with my personal favorite one that we've gone over so far, which is Iron Man 3. That one is more of a, whatever it's on, I'm going to sit down and watch it in its entirety. This one, I can watch it, but like I could also get up and walk away halfway through it too. Like it's good and everything like that. It's not something that just draws me in. And I think that does have to do a lot with some of the villains and stuff like that. Like the overarching story and stuff like that is great, but like they missed on a couple of little points. The reveal, the stereotypical bad guys, where you're just like the whole time you're like, well, you're a bad guy, and I hope you get hit by a fucking bus. You know?
Yeah.
Which he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I laughed out loud. Like, I did not realize that they would put that in MCU. When Bucky rips him out,
He just launches him.
he just throws him into a bus, and I was like, oh, okay, that character is done.
Bye, Jasper.
But I just want to remind the audience too that Nigel does tend to preposterously score high.
I do, so I have tried to dial it back a little bit.
The highest score possible. So yeah, you're low balling for this one.
Everything starts off as a 10 in Nigel's book. You know.
I mean, MC is
there's
just MC.
subtract.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right. Going backwards. So.
I'll go next. I kind of talked about earlier. Like, I love this movie. This is like a clear number one for me. This is a 9.6 for me. Like,
Whoa!
almost a perfect.
Okay, so
movie.
everything we just said 3 seconds ago about me, screw all of it.
Yeah.
So
This is above Avengers.
Oh, yeah,
Every
this-
Iron
this
Man.
is-
Number one.
I think I had Cap 1 at 1 before this, but like this blows Cap 1 a little.
Did Cap even take his shirt off in this one?
Does Cap? No, but he's in a tank top. If you remember,
Okay,
when
so he's in
when Anthony Mackie offers a
All right,
breakfast,
all
he's like, "If you people eat that," and there's this. We talked a little bit about this off camera,
So bicep scene gets you a 9.6.
but I mean anything. And first of all, we're not even at spoilers. We're not even at the helicopter scene where Chris Evans holds the helicopter with his biceps, and he's like,
boy.
I think is that Civil War?
I'm gonna bring a raincoat for that one.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no, seriously. That's
Second
gonna
couch or
be
something.
it's gonna be raining for that one.
I don't think you're coming.
But yeah, I think this is almost a perfect movie. I agree with the points that you guys brought up. The convenience it does, the one-dimensional villains, but I just think like this feels like an espionage and like a spy movie tacked on with an action movie, tacked on with an MCU movie, and I was like, I just had a blast for, like I said, the first hour and a half of this movie. I was just like, this scene is amazing. This scene is amazing.
Yeah.
Like for me, this is my clear number one. It's like almost a perfect movie for me. Like there's a couple others I think I'll score a little bit higher as we go. I'm a big fan of Civil War, which not coincidentally has Cap in it as well. So, and not just boy Tony. So, 9.6 for me. I love this movie because of everything that's going on there.
Yeah, no, that's aggressive, but hey, do you. So for me, I'm giving it 8.5, which is putting it in my upper tier. Like you said, I love the espionage in this. I'm not a huge dig into other people's conspiracy theories. I create my own in my head based off of current events. And like watching this, there was so much going on, and I loved it. I thought that was entertaining. I'm not high on Winter Soldier himself, but I loved all the Hydra stuff. I thought it was really cool and how they ended up breaking it down and tearing it down in general. So for me, Winter Soldier actually ends up third on my list. So I have Black Panther number 1, Avengers 2, Winter Soldier 3, Iron Man number 4, and the original Captain America number 5. And that's kicking Iron Man 2 out of the top 5.
Yeah, and just a quick update for the audience here. What we're going to do, because we're getting deeper and deeper into this universe, and there's a lot of movies, obviously, we're just going to do top 5 rankings from now on for each episode. So they kicked it off at that top 5, and maybe we'll go with Nigel this time because we put Megan on the spot a lot tonight. So Nigel, what would you do for your top 5, or where would you rank this?
All right, so I would go Iron Man 3 is my top for sure. Black Panther, I know I wasn't here for you guys last time, but that's just a phenomenal all-around soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
Plot, characters, just everything about it, like honestly. So that's number 2. I'm actually going to slide. I know I ranked it a little bit lower, but like from the score basis, but I'm going to actually slide this in as my number 3, above Avengers. I know I scored it higher and everything like that, but it is one of those ones where you can sit down and just be immersed in it, and that definitely has to do with that whole espionage thing.
Yeah.
So
now remember, overall score and rankings are different. I mean, I think I'm like famous for that, where it's like I have one. I think Iron Man 2 above Iron Man, but I gave Iron Man 1 a higher score. But again, we're reviewing these week to week, so like a score of a week. We're scoring it at the score of the time, but like I don't know. Everyone has their own like different rankings. We don't really have
rank it your own way.
We don't have a set criteria, but like depends how much you want to watch it, things like that. So
so for sure. And then I've got next 2 are just Avengers, and then Iron Man number 1. So
cool.
Those are my top 5.
So remember, Nigel has all of Iron Man's 10 out of 10. Perfect score.
So is that me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Megan. So what do you have for top 5? Or you can do a full rankings too, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, no, I'd probably put Winter Soldier at number 5 for me. It still made it up there, for the ones that you guys have reviewed so far.
Okay.
Number 1, I got Avengers just because I love that movie. Black Panther, number 2, it's kind of really close with Avengers. It depends on my mood. Like it flips just because I loved the fight scenes in all of Black Panther, but that's here nor there. Then Iron Man 3 and Iron Man 2 and then Winter Soldier.
So Iron Man family.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I married her.
Pepper Potts and Tony Stark over here.
Seriously.
KP?
So yeah, as I said earlier, clear number 1 for me. I'm doing Cap Winter Soldier number 1, and then the first Avenger after that. Then I got Black Panther, then Iron Man 2, and then Iron Man, the original Iron Man. So kind of similar to Nigel and Megan. I'm a big fan of the Iron Man movies. So, but I think Cap, that just speaks to, I love Iron Man, but like Cap, I don't know. I mean, going into this MCU review, I was like, Tony Stark is the best. No one can beat Tony Stark. And now I'm like, I don't know. Cap's putting up a good fight. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. But
we'll find out after Civil War, right?
We will find out after that masterpiece of a movie.
Right.
All right, guys. So that is our review of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Thank you for joining us, and special thanks again to special guest Nigel. More special guest Megan, who has not recorded yet with us. So Vic here is always old reliable here, and then little old me. So thank you for joining us. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please go check out the other Reviewers Assembles episodes we got. Next week we have Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which I think kind of came out of nowhere. I don't think before that movie anyone knew, unless you're like a big comic book fan, like who the Guardians were.
I still don't know who they are, but we'll watch it anyway.
Spoilers for next week, but yeah, thank you all for joining us. Until next time, peace.